Hallways are danger areas that are frequently encountered by law enforcement personnel during arrests and searches. Clearing a hallway can funnel a team into a narrow area where the risk to clearing personnel is greatly increased. If at all possible, plan to reach the target area by an alternative approach. This video depicts various hallway configurations and provides some basic techniques used with team movement. The video does not assume to address every technique available to a clearing team. It should be noted that in producing this training video, the locations and hallways used were selected because they were conducive to recording and providing a visual reference as to the fundamental movements within each technique. Situations encountered in the course of an actual operation may require adjustments to these techniques by the team. Prior to entry, the following should be considered before negotiating a hall. 1. The configuration of the hall. This will determine what technique will best fit the situation. 2. What danger areas are present in the hall? Areas to consider include adjoining rooms, closets, elevators, stairs, and so on. 3. Is there a potential for crossfire? Fields of fire must be determined before moving through a hall. 4. Have you developed a plan and discussed contingencies? 5. Have you discussed and practiced hallway clearing techniques? 3 basic hallway configurations will be presented. The first hallway to be discussed is called an L-shaped hallway. This shape is created when one hallway leads to a second intersecting hallway off to one side. The techniques used in this segment are for those situations where the area to be cleared is on one side of a hallway. As the clearing team approaches the intersecting hallway, the wide cover person performs a slice the pie clearing technique, checking for any immediate threats from the intersecting hallway. If no threat is observed, the wide cover person will notify the other team members to advance to their position to assist in further clearing and prepare to make entry into the next hallway. The use of a mirror at this point will provide an additional measure of safety to the clearing team. If a shield is available, visual clearing techniques using the shield can add to the safety of the searching team. The shield person places the edge, called the lip, against the door frame or wall leading into the area to be cleared. This technique is called lipping. The shield person slowly lips around the corner looking through the viewport for signs of danger. The cover person for the one using the shield remains behind the shield ready to assist. Using a shield takes coordinated movement by team members, which requires prior training of techniques in the use of the shield. The shield can be used in the hallway to provide protection for the cover person. Once in place, the cover person can initiate the movement of the clearing team when the hallway is secured. If no mirror or shield is available, the cover person begins to enter the uncleared area by slicing the pie. While moving and covering areas of danger, the cover person will direct the clearing team to enter the hallway when it's apparent that no immediate threat exists from an area yet to be cleared. An alternative technique for the cover person to consider using is, after a brief delay, step into the room that's being cleared. The advantage of this is to get out of the danger area of the hall to cover or concealment. However, the advantage is he does not have a good angle to visually cover uncleared rooms ahead, and this technique relies on the room clearing team to control any subjects in the room that they enter. Another alternative for the cover person to consider using is when the clearing team enters a room, the cover person backs up into the previous area that was cleared. This affords the safety of getting out of the hall and alleviates backing up into an uncleared room. The disadvantage is that the clearing team is now in his field of fire as they exit the room that they just cleared. This technique requires more communication by the clearing team and fire discipline by the cover person. When the intersecting hallway is long or contains numerous areas of danger along one side, it may require an additional cover person to ensure the safety of the entry team. In this situation, the initial cover person enters the hallway using the same techniques as demonstrated in the 3-person clear, followed by a second cover person. The first cover person works from a low position and covers the short or near danger areas. The second cover person covers the long areas and works from a high and stacked position to the short cover. Using this technique requires communication and fire discipline between the covering individuals. Maintaining contact with the front cover person provides the long cover with control of sudden upward movement by the lower front cover. If a subject is encountered while clearing the hallway, do not advance into uncleared areas in an attempt to effect the arrest. Establish verbal control and order the subject back to your location, ideally to a position of cover or concealment. Specific attention should be placed on the subject's hands while directing the subject back to the desired handcuffing location. Upon reaching the cuffing location, the subject should be placed in a position of disadvantage where the handcuffing techniques can be safely applied. If space allows, the cover person should attempt to maintain visual coverage of the hallway while the subject is being cuffed. If the desired cuffing area is small or congested, then bring the subject to a more advantageous area. It may then be necessary to retake the hallway using the same techniques previously discussed. The second type of hallway to consider is a T intersection. This type of hallway is formed when one hall intersects with another. The new hallway extends to the left and right of the initial hallway, creating potential areas of danger on both sides. When clearing this type of hallway, two cover persons advance toward the intersection, covering opposite sides of danger by slicing the pie as they move. Just prior to exposure in the new hallway, they stop, and with coordinated movement they conduct a quick peek. If no threat is observed, they execute a limited penetration to provide cover for the clearing team as they prepare to make entry into the next hallway. The safest way to clear this type of hallway is with the use of a mirror. When using this technique, the mirror person enters the hallway, and if the area is wide enough, the mirror persons move between the wall and the cover person to visually clear the new hallway. After visually clearing the new hallway with the mirror, the cover persons execute a limited penetration technique. If the arrest plan dictates clearing one side of a T hallway, a coordinated slice the pie technique will be conducted. This will provide cover on the backside hallway for clearing at a later time. If the situation allows, the backside cover person should maintain rear security for the clearing team from a position of cover. The clearing team continues to search and clear danger areas using the previously described techniques. If the hallway is not wide enough, the first person should use the mirror while being covered by the second. The third type of hallway to consider is straight and contains areas to be cleared on both sides. Problems to identify before clearing this type of hallway are: 1. Are the areas to be cleared directly across from each other? And 2. Are entry points to the areas to be cleared open or closed? Hallways that have entry points directly across from each other require additional team members and coordinated movements. If the entry points at the areas to be cleared are directly across from each other and both entry points are open, a simultaneous entry may be considered. This situation requires both cover persons to advance at the same time while scanning opposite side areas of danger using the slice the pie technique. Prior to exposing themselves to danger areas, the cover persons stop and motion for the clearing teams to move into position for entry. Upon reaching the entry point, the clearing team, in coordinated movement, conduct a visual clear of the area to be entered. Entry is made simultaneously by the clearing teams. The clearing team will announce a clear signal when the area is safe to use as a cover position prior to movement toward the next area. If the hallway is long and contains additional areas of danger, the second member of the entry team provides long cover for the team. As the entry team makes entry, the initial cover persons rotate back to coverage of the hallway. When it's determined that entry to one or both sides of the areas to be cleared is closed, a single-sided entry may be considered. When executing this type of movement, the cover person establishes hallway coverage and notifies the entry team to move forward to the first entry point. The lead entry person maintains cover on the intended area to be entered. The second member of the entry team covers the closed area, watching and listening for indications of potential danger. Once the first team makes entry and the area is secured, The hallway cover notifies the second clearing team to advance toward the opposite side entry point. This technique can also be used to clear hallways where the entry points are staggered and not directly across from one another. If additional team members are available, they can be added to the clearing process at the direction of the hallway cover person. This technique provides a rotation of entry personnel, but requires additional training and communication. If the hallway to be cleared contains recessed doorways, as is the case in many commercial locations, an alternative technique may be considered. In this technique, both cover persons again advance to the point just prior to exposure to the areas to be cleared. The cover person motions for the first entry team to advance. The first person conducts a visual clear of the area to be entered. If no threat is observed, entry is made. Once the entry team signals the area is secure, the hallway cover person backs into the room and provides layoff cover on the opposite side room. The second team is notified to advance to their entry point. Using the same tactics as the initial entry team, they clear their area of responsibility. This technique is continued in alternating fashion throughout the hallway until the search or arrest is completed. To summarize the important aspects of hallway movement, remember to consider the following points. 1. Practice the techniques as a team. 2. Gather as much intelligence on the intended target area as possible when developing the plan. 3. Plan for contingencies. 4. Avoid congestion. Only those with an active responsibility should be exposed in the hallway. 5. Always have a cover person protect the team's movement. 6. Call subjects encountered during the clearing process back to a secured location. Remember, do not enter an uncleared area to effect an arrest.